near you.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to part two. Hello there, Jennifer. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, dear?
I'm here.
No, you're
I'm drinking
here.
my thermal for flu and I have plenty of liquids, Gatorade, and everything else, but I'm making it.
Sending you chicken soup vibes.
Yes, I'm telling you, she's got me so kind of. Hello, Colleen. Little Twisted, Michelle, Lulu, SWPI Pekin. Nice to have you there. Yeah, she's got me. I've been eating so much chicken noodle soup. I'm getting ready to feathers. I'll just say feathers. We'll leave it at that. Hey, Tammy Johnson, she's over there laughing. So yes. Anyways, so this is part two. This is where we bring in the people with abilities to take a look at this case. And ladies and gentlemen, what they received was this picture. Let me scoot it down here. And what's the subject's name?
Elizabeth Barraza.
Yes. A horrible case.
And yeah, it is. And just very puzzling for sure. Very
And
puzzling.
it sounds like you got some new information too, maybe something that that you uncovered.
I did. I do. I've got a couple little tidbits we're going to talk about after the case, and we'll see if they pick up on any of the new stuff that we don't know, that we didn't know.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Amy. Hey, Rita. Welcome to the show. Hello, Mary. It's in the chat. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's start with Angela. Come on down.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, the first thing I did was that, and overnight when it was really late, or in the early hours of the morning, I turned on the spirit box to try to see if I could talk to her. And I just got the impression this was somebody that she was kind of seeing. And I was told through the spirit box this was not premeditated, that there was a witness. There was a witness. I kept hearing cop, police, justice. He's mad, body, and twins. I also got that the impression that whoever she was with, this person was whoever did this was somebody that was known to her and was constantly berating her, constantly breaking her down, just verbally abusive, and would say some very strange things to her that was very upsetting. She came through herself. She said, I asked her, was there anybody else involved? And she said the word neighbor. Also, I got the impression that there was some sort of relationship, like a committed relationship. But she said didn't feel safe. And I also was told drive. And then I saw her in a car, like she was a passenger in a car. And I kept getting wheels over and over again. I kept seeing a sedan. I couldn't see the entire car, but I kept seeing a sedan. The other thing I was getting, I asked about motive, and what she said was, or what I heard was dangerous. And I asked about this male because I kept seeing with the rooms that there was something to do with that this person really had some issues. I felt like too that the runes were telling me that whoever this was person that was doing this, that was berating her, and that was that did have some issues. She was just choosing to endure rather than fight back. Like she was just thought she'd be resilient and just handle it herself. This person has issues with women. I got that there was a male who did this, and this male had an abusive mother, and that shaped his perception negatively of all women. And these issues with women, he drugged into the relationship, and he can't have a normal relationship with women. It's just like he feels like he just has to be abusive and manipulative and hateful all the time. And I kept asking for names, and I kept hearing on the spirit box, I kept hearing Stephen over and over again. It was being repeated, the name Stephen. And then I asked her if there was anything else she wanted to say. And she said, I heard her voice come through, and she said, "Forgive him, Dad." And then after that, my spirit box shut itself off.
Okay, interesting.
She did say, before the box shut off, and of course the conversation, she also said she was in a place, she said there was a place that she was in a place that made her feel scared.
Okay.
I felt like she was taken to a place, and I also had the word rope repeated.
All right. Thank you, Angela. Stay in Vira. Does that name come up familiar with anything so far? Interesting. Next up, the one with broken ribs and still survived the fall, Christopher Harmon. Come on down.
Hello, good evening, Jennifer. Good evening, Chris or Grizzly.
How you doing there, sir? How's your ribs feeling?
We're hanging in there. Could be better, could be worse.
Right. Sorry to hear about that.
No problem. So as you know, for everybody who doesn't know, I'm a remote viewer, and of course, I did this case, and I picked up on several things. Of course, I love to do remote viewing on cases because it does allow for a lot of good details. And so right away, when I started this, I could tell that this was going to be a very not per se intense, but a very technical case, because I immediately picked up on a gentleman, and I kept picking up on he was driving a pickup truck. I felt like this gentleman had definitely a black or either a dark blue truck. I was pretty sure it was a black. And I felt like that he had this plan, like this incident that he was going to do, or the crime he was going to commit, was definitely planned. It was not just out of the blue. He was doing a job, and he went to the victim's home or business, because where this woman worked that was killed, because I picked it up on she was deceased, and I felt like where he was headed was to do this murder. Immediately I started picking up, when I did my work, I was picking up on selling. So I felt like this woman was selling items, either at a business or at a home. And I couldn't pick up on what items she was selling, but she was selling items. And the further into my remote viewing I got, the victim had a job to do. He pulled up in a black pickup truck, and I couldn't tell if it was either solid black or dark blue, but definitely a dark color. I felt like either he knew her or he had met her, and he was going to commit this crime. So as I got further, immediately on my second page, or third page, I should say, I got the word gunshot, like instantly. I had it twice written down. And then there again, I got black truck. So at this point, I was pretty sure it definitely was a black truck. And I felt like the reason she was working, the victim, was she was selling items. And I immediately realized, okay, this is an outdoor sell. She is selling stuff outdoors in her home. And that's how he was able to pull up to her location. And I kept picking up on that what he did to her was not instantaneous. Like, there was a little bit of survival, but nobody was around. I kept picking up on her area was empty. So going into my abilities, the fact that her area was empty, it made me wonder if she was having some sort of a like an outdoor. I thought thinking flea market. No, not if she's doing it at a business home. Then I realized, okay, this must be like a yard sale, and I felt like move on to my next page here. So I drew what I thought, tried to drawing. Pardon my bad drawing, but I kept drawing like a little bit of it's like a garage sale, and she's selling stuff. And there's the road, because I felt like that he pulled up, and then he got out of his blue or black truck, and then went over to her cell. And immediately, I could tell that she must have either knew him or had some kind of conversation with him prior to that. Otherwise, how could he have found her location? So then I got into just writing down whatever comes to me. She was left to die. She was the only one there. No husband or family members were there. No mom or dad. And then looking at the gentleman himself, I feel like he has no mustache, no facial hair. I feel like he. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but like he wears disguises. Like okay, so who he pulled up as was not his usual normal day-to-day attire. I felt like he possibly smokes or drinks, but I felt like he knew her or he knew somebody in her family, and that's how he knew the location. It wasn't just he didn't go to garage sale just to pick somebody to shoot. He knew what he was doing. Then further into my work I felt like maybe he was hired. Like maybe this was like a hired job. For some reason, I felt like he was doing a job. So I got the word job several times. So if it's a job, that means he must be hired. Moving on, I did 8 pages, so this is page 6. I felt like nobody was home. She was having a yard sale. A gentleman pulls up, gets out of a black or dark blue pickup truck, shoots. She was not dead instantly. She died like later on. Man has black hair, possibly a leather jacket is what he normally wears. Just picking up on stuff. This is all just possible that he wears a leather jacket. But on that day he was in a disguise, and I do not think it was a black leather jacket he was wearing at the time. I could not tell what he was wearing, but it was not. I kept feeling like it was a disguise, so that nobody else could recognize him for whatever reason. He was hired to kill. He knew the family somehow, or at least her. He left her to die, and let's see. I felt like this was all pre-planned to go down like this. It wasn't just random. He knew what he was doing, and that's my work.
All right, Christopher. Thank you. He was staying by there. Jennifer. Next up, with the one and only Kelly Joe from Florida. Kelly.
Hello. I got a sedan at first. Then I got the boyfriend did it. Then I got a terrible pain in my head and all blackness. And she was either shot in the head or it was quick. But she knew the person that eliminated her.
Wow. Interesting. All right.
And I kept seeing black, the color black. After I got all that, all I saw was black.
What is that reference to? The ethnicity or color of vehicle, or
it was just darkness. So,
okay.
It was like an evil deed. And then like the lights were on and everything went black.
Right. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kelly Joe. Stand by. You know what? That makes me wonder. Element of surprise, right? Anyways, next up, she's lit there. She's wondering if it's her. Yes, and Bo, it's you. Come on down.
I was wondering. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Your vacation.
Yeah, doing okay. I wouldn't call it a vacation. My children are off school, and I have 4 of them. So if I'm looking more tired than I was a week ago, it's because I am. Not that I'm complaining. So I work with the tarot, and I like to arrive unprepared so that everything is live and authentic as I go for it. So I'm going to switch my screens on my laptop so that I'm looking at the picture of the victim, and then I'm going to pull some cards and see what I'm picking up on. So initially, I'll just start with a little general impression, and it's actually gone sour straight away. So I would be very tempted to straight off the bat turn the finger of blame onto an ex, an admirer, somebody from her past, and somebody who believed that they were together at one stage. Whether or not they actually were, whether it's an ex or a stalker, maybe we'll see in a minute. Let's see what we know about that person. It looks like it's somebody that was really trustworthy, somebody that wouldn't have been a worry as he approached her. So what did he actually do? Right, so it's showing a very vicious, very instantaneous attack, which I think a few of the other psychics have also said, that there is not really sort of a lengthy, dramatic, sort of drawn out experience, but rather a sort of a once and done. Now, I'll tell you what's strange. It's showing me a cut. So what it could be is that possibly a knife that is still in its hilt being used for its blunt force, or not hilt, sheath, or the back of a knife, or even like the block. What do you call the block that you put knives in, like a knife block? Because it is showing me blades, but it's not showing me the blade as being the actual method of. And let me ask whether there's a good chance that a guilty party will come forward or not. Nobody is going to volunteer any information. So how will information come to light? It says that in time, there will be further crimes committed by the same person, and that person will then confess to the other crimes. Being somebody with a series of similar violent crimes, but it's really over the space of like 20 years. So I don't know how long ago this is. I feel like the perpetrator will be caught, but will be caught with already sort of an extra couple of notches on their belt. And let me ask whether there's any information that can sort of bring us further, closer. It just says that it was a person who was known to her. It was a person who was that large of a social circle. So it would be possible to diligently go through all the people she knows and to find somebody who is circumstantially there, but actual evidence will be very, very hard to come by. So that's what I'm getting about this case. It looks really interesting.
That's awesome. Okay, stand by there. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, now, all right. This is the time where we do all parties are innocent to proven guilty in a court of law. This is for entertainment purposes only. So, what do we know about the case, Jennifer?
Well, I can play the news video, but just to the newest one that recaps it. But Elizabeth Barraza is 29 years old, was killed January 25th, 2019, while setting up for a garage sale. Just a few minutes, I'm talking single digits, after her husband left for work. A black Nissan Frontier pulled up. Someone got out of it who looked like they were in a disguise. You hear her saying good morning, because these things were caught not only on her Nest door camera, but neighbors' cameras as well. And she shot 3 times in a row, and then one more time after that. A Nissan seen exiting the area, but it's never seen exiting the subdivision. In fact, it got close to the entrance, turned around, and came back and drove past her house again. But they still have no video evidence that that truck ever left the subdivision. So there's a theory on that too. But I do have, let me get that brought up. I
You
do
want
have,
to show the old footage first?
yeah. Do you have that pulled up or do you want me to get that?
Let's see here. How many seconds was it? Do you remember?
It was like 2 minutes, wasn't it? Here we go. Here's the, I'm gonna get it pulled up here real quick. 2:48. 2 minutes and 48.
No, I don't have it then.
Okay.
Either.
Let me pause this real
I
quick.
wonder why I didn't save it. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
I've got it. I
Okay.
got the first one that we sent, that we showed.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, this may be kind of graphic, so just be prepared. Just to let you know. Okay.
Out about her death and their hopes for justice. Fox 26's Leslie Delaspore speaking with her former husband, her parents, and Crime Stoppers. Leslie, what'd they tell you?
Yeah, Liz Barraza's loved ones say they will never stay silent until she receives justice.
Grief comes in waves, and sometimes they're little tiny waves that lap at your feet, and sometimes it's a tsunami.
Bob and Rosemary Nelly continued to live their worst nightmare 6 years after their daughter Liz was gunned down in her driveway. Liz was killed January 25th, 2019, while setting up a garage sale outside her home in Tomball on Cedar Walk Drive.
Anything and kind of everything will just kind of jump out at you, and you do feel that pain.
A pain that Liz's former husband, Sergio Barraza, says he too feels, missing her daily and seeking justice, all while Barraza says he fights to maintain his innocence.
I've always kept Liz in my heart, and I always will. But I've kept going in my life, trying to think of somebody who did this to her that might be close to me, that I might be friends with, that I might live with. I don't have no idea. I've not been okay with it, but just there's nothing I can do about it. So I've just continued to show that I'm an open book to the police, that I'm here to do whatever I can to solve this.
Crime Stoppers Director of Victim Services, Andy Kahn, says this case will remain open as long as they continue getting tips.
Grief is intensified when justice is lacking. And sadly, right now, justice is lacking for Liz and her family.
Although the fight continues, Liz's loved ones, Precinct 3 Harris County Sheriff's deputies, along with Crime Stoppers, are honoring her memory with a bench this Thursday in Burroughs Park in hopes that someone sitting with information will come forward.
And the difference with our case, the thing that's made the difference is we never stop getting publicity. And every time we go and we do a piece like this, the tip line will light up.
There is no statute of limitation on murder. This will always be out there. So no one is ever going to give up.
Now, Crime Stoppers says they are offering up to a $50,000 reward. So if you have any information, you are urged to call them at 713-222-TIPS. Reporting from the Harris County Sheriff's Office, Leslie Delaspore, Fox 26 News.
All right, I've got the door cam. Here we go.
Okay.
So
I've got a picture of the truck here pulled up too, I think. Where are we? I got to find where it is. Oh,
now, allegedly, the suspect was wearing a wig, correct?
Yeah, they do allege that it was a disguise, and if you go back into the video you just played, you do hear, because there's some speculation with people doing that noise cleanup like we played last week, right? And people were criticizing them when we played, saying, "I think you're hearing a podcast she's listening to." And if you watch that video again, you do hear a lot of noise, and you hear her say good morning, and that noise stops. So it seems like if she was listening to something, that was where she turned it off.
Yeah, 'cause
So
she says good morning to the subject before the person entered to the property. It's right when the person got out of the vehicle.
yeah. And you hear that background noise that you hear in the beginning, you hear it stop. So that to a lot of people was indicating, yes, she was listening to something. So anyone cleaning up the audio, unless you're doing it from that silence on, you're not getting anything that's relevant, is what they were kind of criticizing. Now they also, so the black Nissan Frontier, I know we had a few people mention black or black truck. I think Chris made black truck. There is apparently a dead end of the cul-de-sac of this neighborhood. Let's see if I can't find that picture.
And make a note too, Jennifer, that this person came, what was it? How many minutes after the husband left?
About 4 minutes. I'd have done the time frame again.
Yeah, I think around 4 minutes. I think we
Sergio leaves for work at 6:48. Liz is approached by someone at 6:52. Yes, 4 minutes after. Lots of speculation on what that is too. Here we go. So speculation number one is that, someone was watching in the neighborhood. Speculation number two is that they had access to her Nest camera and that there was a public URL, but I think they're ruling that part out. Apparently this was a schedule that they kept, like the timeline is fairly normal for a morning. So they also looked into a couple of things. So first thing Detective Ritchie, who's head of the case, did, or one of the things he did when he took it back over, is he said, okay, let's find a geofence, because everything is so specific. And with the ring with all the video cameras, you have a very specific time frame. So they did a geofence to see if there are any unusual devices pinging in that area at that time. They found nothing other than emergency response people were the only ones that had any out of the norm activity. So they then think that the person that did it did not possibly bring a cellular device with them.
So they knew.
Right. They also looked into reported stolen vehicles for Nissan Frontiers. They found none. No reports of stolen Nissan Frontiers for that time frame either, in and around it. So then, is it someone's vehicle? Did they rent it? But you'd think that they'd check rentals as well. So I'm trying to look at my notes to see what else we looked at.
Now, didn't the Nissan Frontier come back around to check?
It did. Yep, it did. So that was, I wonder if this one has the time frame. It wasn't long after, because what they're saying is that okay, so the alarm, you heard him talk about an alarm, right? I don't know if you did, but they were talking about an alarm door triggered. The garage door alarm is triggered at 7:19. So she was shot around 6:52. So 7:19, the garage door alarm is triggered, causing Sergio and Liz's parents to get noticed. So I haven't figured out what triggered that. Like, that's how they knew that something had happened.
You think that was the neighbors that found the body after the gunshots, probably?
Yeah, and I think it was, or it says Liz is transported to the hospital at 7:21. So emergency responders, probably police, is what triggered that. So that's how they were notified. So What else? Geofence. Trying to think what else. Oh, a couple of things. The husband has taken a polygraph.
Oh, he did.
He did, and he passed. His new wife, he married 3 years after the murder. He remarried. She has also taken a polygraph. She has also passed.
All right. Well, that's off the table then.
He's not ruled out as a suspect.
Well, they won't.
And they're saying his father is also a suspect.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
His mom and dad, what did Reddit say? I was looking up some stuff. They asked about his parents. This was asked 2 years ago and responded 2 years ago that the mom and dad are divorced. And she cited her, so this is Liz's father-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law. And the divorce reasons from the mom, she was citing that infidelity by her husband. So
Interesting.
yep. Now, after Liz's death, Sergio, her husband, lived with his in-laws, her parents, for a year. And Liz's dad is the one that helped Sergio sell the house. So he didn't want to go back and live there.
Well,
And
do you blame him? I wouldn't either.
oh gosh, no, I don't blame him at all. I wouldn't, I don't think I would want to either. No, he claims that the new person he's married to, he met 2.5 years after the murder on a dating app. They apparently did go to high school together. They married. They said 3 years later he was married. So they must have gotten married 6 months after they met each other.
Well,
I'm sure that's why they were polygraphing both of them.
right.
But they both passed.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the technology they have today with polygraphs, it's really hard to beat them. The technology today, it's not like it was 30 years ago. It's pretty intense. So
yeah. So apparently I've not read anything that says the husband has not been cooperative. So, but I thought it was very interesting. He lived with them. It was interesting that they think maybe the truck would have, if it went out of the subdivision through this cul-de-sac, he would have been off road. But that off-roading leads to a main road that they could have taken. And the theory is that the reason they believe that they use that to exit is because where there's only one entrance to the subdivision. So where are the police and the emergency responders coming? Through the main entrance.
oh yeah.
So one of the theories is that not only did they double back, pass, make sure she wasn't moving, they were also trying to get back to that dead end cul-de-sac and leave because they didn't want to pass police and emergency responders out the main entrance.
So what's the motive behind this? It's not random.
No. And in fact, here's the other thing I learned today. There was a life insurance policy on her. The husband was the beneficiary. He refuses to take the proceeds.
Wow.
He doesn't want to take them because he doesn't want to look guilty, apparently, but he refuses to take the proceeds.
Wow.
So so I found a lot more stuff out. It's just very interesting listening to some of these other videos, and there's a local podcast I listened to that is a big true crime, and it was just kind of, then there should be tracks in someone's yard. Yes. So
And how much was the insurance Amy was asking?
I didn't hear how much it was. I didn't hear that.
Couldn't have been much. I'm not saying it was because they were 29 years old, right? So
Right. I can show a picture real quick of the cul-de-sac. They have a picture of it if you guys want to see it.
But it's just like, so, one of the things I question is why her?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's a good, yeah. See, that Nissan Frontier, it's nothing to get through that. My Equinox can get through that.
Right, and then you see the main road back here, so that looks like a shopping center.
Drainage ditch.
Yeah. So, but that's what they that's what they believe is possible that
Well, then you look at, what does she do? She goes and she dresses up and she does what?
she goes to children's hospitals and dresses up as Star Wars people and visits the kids and stuff. It's like Troop 501, I think is what it's called. So it's just a very, it's just a very giving job. And they had that trip booked for their anniversary. It was their 5-year anniversary, and it wasn't long after the garage sale that they were supposed to leave. In fact, the husband still has the Harry Potter suitcase she packed to go. When I saw an interview with him.
Should I bring the psychics in? And
yeah, let's hear what they say.
All right. Let's see here. So what do y'all think now?
This is very, there's so many different ways it could go almost. I mean, but so puzzling.
Yeah, it's just really convoluted.
Yeah, it's just like, why her, right? It's just like, so, I mean, she was targeted for a reason, but why? And that's one of the things I always have problems with is trying to understand why somebody would do something like that when she does something good for the kids in the community, right?
Yeah.
Yep. This is clearly a speculation, but is it possible that maybe that he liked her and she didn't, and she sorry, but I'm already with somebody, and maybe he just kind of, I don't know. I mean,
well, the problem is, Chris, is that there was not any information about disputes, or I mean, it was really, like Jennifer said, it was nothing. Like neighbors didn't come forward. Oh, they fought. They had issues. None of that stuff. So we don't know.
And he still talks to her parents from time to time.
I think it was like an ex-boyfriend. That's what I'm getting.
You see a person I was getting as well, like an ex. But this person, though, has a lot of issues with women. Chronic issues. I mean, like mental health issues, because I just got glimpses of like a depression of somebody, of a male that was extremely abused by a narcissistic mother. And then he's got of course, the narcissistic parent passes on that manipulation and abuse, and he figures he has to be just as manipulative to get back at that person. That fits the pattern for his whole life. So when he tries to have a relationship, he stays in that pattern. And if anybody is out of his control and he starts having personal problems that from the results of his own actions, he immediately blames somebody else, and whoever he liked the most is who he's going to blame. And he'll follow the same pattern. So I'm convinced that this is somebody that has issues with women. They would be known as issues with women, and probably somebody in her past who, she didn't feel comfortable with him because of his issues, and probably made some sort of remark to somebody. This person acts strangely. This person talks manipulatively. I don't want to be around this person. It just doesn't feel comfortable for me. And then this person, typical following the pattern of the narcissistic example that he's been given, he's going to blame somebody else for his issues and is going to take it out on everybody else instead of taking responsibility for his own actions. So that's the impression that I'm getting. And then towards the end of that spirit box session, her voice came through and said, "Forgive him, Dad." So she did pass on a message, and then the box shut itself off. So So she has a good heart, right? She's asking that he would be forgiven for this, right? So he's going to have to face justice eventually. Some person like that is going to be committing more crimes, and he's going to get caught at some point. Um, uh, but she seems to, with that statement, acknowledges that some of these issues are mental, and was a pattern that he grew up with, and maybe something that he needs treatment for, as opposed to punishment for. Punishment for and treatment for, right, for mental health issues. But she's just
I'll get the ropes. What I say. What do you think,
So,
Apple?
Grizz, do you think it's so? Is it normal that they would look at the father-in-law too?
Oh yeah, it would be, but it's strange that they would say he is a suspect and name him out publicly, right?
right.
So
Yeah.
there must be something that has some type of circumstantial evidence, possibility leading him or tying him to this. That
Yeah.
when you said that threw a curveball.
And there
So
again,
Well, what did the spirit box say again, Angela?
Oh, at the end,
Yep.
she said, "Forgive him, Dad." Now, I don't know if she's talking to her biological dad or her father-in-law.
I don't know.
yeah, Embo, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with the girls. I really think that it's either the husband or a different ex, but I keep kind of glancing sideways at my cards thinking, could it mean anything different? No, it's somebody from her romantic, emotional past.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is a young girl, so it's not somebody with a long and checkered, complicated romantic past. We're probably looking at, a maximum of a handful of people. It's one of them. I'm not loving the husband. Everything sounds really strange anyway. I'm not loving the husband. I think it's very possible that the whole thing with the insurance is just to throw off the scent, because quite honestly, why would he turn it down if he's not trying to double bluff? Do you know what I mean? Because it
Oh, it
is
is a possibility. Yeah.
because
I
an
mean, the
insurance
husband
is a
has been
legal arrangement.
crucified online. People have been crucifying that husband online.
Right,
Crazy.
right.
there again,
So, so yeah, I'm not loving the husband at all. But if every avenue is being searched and it's not him, then it's another ex-partner.
Yeah.
and there again, the perpetrator knew she was having a garage sale evidently for him to come at that exact time, and knew when the husband wasn't going to be there. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, here's what I found weird. Maybe I just do garage sales weird odd when I did them. They were asking how many people knew about the garage sale. The husband, the parents. Well, don't you advertise it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So
newspaper and Facebook.
how can you say that just those that's always just puzzled me. How can you say only like 3 or 4 people knew about this garage sale? Well, did you not
Post on
advertise it?
Facebook.
Was
Yeah.
there not a sign in your yard? Was there not, you know what I mean? So I find it odd that they said only a handful of people knew about the garage sale.
Yeah.
A lot of times they have signs like around the corners, like as you walk into the neighborhood, like
Right.
like pointing like garage sale down this way or something, go straight or whatever.
Plus,
Yeah.
you might have mentioned it as if you take a walk in, which it looks like they're in a suburb, right? If you go on a walk on a regular basis, you're going to tell your neighbors, "Hey, I'm going to have a yard sale tomorrow. You want to come over?" I mean, you're going to mention it to your neighbors. And she said the word neighbor.
And there again, the husband himself might have said to his buddies or colleagues or whatever, "Hey, my wife's having a garage sale tomorrow morning. If anybody wants to stop by and check it out."
Right.
So that was something that I heard over and over in some of the news broadcasts I've listened to. Just a handful of people. Wow, you suck at giving garage sales then, 'cause most people, advertise. So I don't know if I buy that. And I don't know why they're putting that out there as a point either. That just puzzled me.
Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Y'all did a fantastic job. Thank you, Jennifer. Wonderful job as always. And if you got a case, ladies and gentlemen, that you want us to look at or review, send it to Jennifer and I. We'll take a look at it. What do you think, Jennifer?
I would love to cover a case that our audience brings to us. It'd be awesome.
And from coast to coast, everybody around the world, Godspeed. We'll see you in the next show. Bye-bye. Be
Thank you very
safe.
much. Thank you.
Coming to a YouTube channel near you.